Good morning, welcome back to the farm. It's September 10th. Ooh, and it's really humid out here, so my lens is fogging up because my camera is cold from being inside. Usually on humid days like this, you should let your camera sit outside a little bit before you open it, but I have some exciting news to share. Went out to the quail hutch today. As you know, I just built this quail hutch with an arrow shed. Yeah, sorry about the fogginess. It's really humid here. It's 100% humidity. It's actually misting right now. But I went ahead and cleaned it up, so you can see where I've sprayed it. It's still drying, but I just went ahead and sprayed all of the screws because I'm having a leaking issue inside the quail hutch. So that's the only really place that it was leaking, was in that one spot, but I went ahead and sealed all of them anyway. So while I was out here, I also checked on the quail. So, let me turn this fan off so you can hear me better. It looks like there's a little bit of water that got in the food. So I'll clean the wet parts of the food there out of the bag so that doesn't rot. So got that cleaned out. Doesn't look like it got in my corn. Yeah, that's still pretty dry, so that's good. The worms are doing good. I keep calling them worms, but they're black soldier fly larvae. So we'll see if we do any better with that. But I was looking at the cages, just making sure that the quail were okay and that they couldn't get out, and that they were fine. And lo and behold, our first quail egg. I'm totally amazed because I believe, if I counted correctly, these quail have only been hatched for about 7.5 weeks, and we have our first egg, which is kind of amazing. So now I'm going to go back inside and check the calculator. I'm going to go back inside and check the calendar and calculate how old these eggs are. Now, I'm pretty certain that this is not a fertilized egg because I have feather sexed the quail, and I separated out all the females from the males, so I'm pretty sure that this is an unfertilized egg, and it's not one we're gonna use for incubation anyway, because it's one of the first. But I am gonna crack it open and test it out. I want to taste it. I've never actually had a quail egg, and so this one, based on what I've done here with the quail, separating out the females from the males, I'm pretty sure this is not fertilized. Not that that matters. You can eat a fertilized egg. It's not going to hurt anything. So pretty crazy, huh? We got two. It is so humid here today. It's everything is fogging up on my camera. So we got a pretty good rain a little bit ago, a lot of rain, and I was out in the quail hutch, and that's how I discovered the second egg. Because of the rain, I stayed out in the quail hutch. So while I was out there, I was just watching the quail and studying them and seeing what was going on. Thunder. And I noticed something that was quite disturbing. I thought, well, I need to double check. First of all, I thought I was going to get to see another quail lay an egg. She was squatting down and stuff, and I thought she was going to lay an egg, and then some of the others kind of bothered her, so she didn't. So there was that, and then I was just watching them because it was raining. I mean, it was just pouring, so I was not gonna run out to the house. Hopefully my lens will dry off here in a little bit. But one of the things that I noticed was one of the ones that I had down in the male cage has sustained an injury, and it's kind of disturbing. So this little guy sustained an injury. So yeah, you can see quite a bit of the back of his head has been pecked away. and he's bleeding down the side of his head. So yeah, I'm not sure he's gonna make it. And since I separated him out and put him in this cage, he went over to this corner and he's just been sitting there relaxing like, I'm not being attacked anymore. So what I did was I watched the males, and it only took about a minute, and I think I found the one that was being mean, and I snatched him out of there and moved him to another cage as well. So I was going to sit out here in the shed with the quail and just observe for a little bit more and see if I really did get the mean one or not. So you can see at this point they're pretty calm. They're not running around acting crazy. Even with me in here talking and things like that, they're not going nuts. Now this bird over here, when I had him in there with the others, this was the one that he was going nuts, and he was pecking at others and trying to do stuff. It was pretty evident that this guy seemed to be the mean one right off the bat. So when he was in there with the others, he was the one who was pecking at others, and he was looking for something and looking like he was trying to start a fight. Now I'm looking at in their cage, and even when I'm out here, so they're not used to me being out here all the time, but you see that they're acting civilized now. So yeah, not sure what all's going on there. So I think as far as it goes, this guy will probably get culled out because he seems to be pretty mean, and we don't need to have mean ones in our flock. Okay, so I did some more research and found out that I can probably just apply triple antibiotic ointment to the wound, separate the bird out, and it should be fine. Now the bully, I have separated him out as well. I think instead of culling them today, at only 7 weeks, I'm going to let them grow out and probably get to about 10 weeks or so when they're fully grown. To be quite honest, I'm not really looking forward to the culling process anyway. But it's part of the process if we're going to raise animals for meat, so I'll just have to learn how to do it. Being a city boy, I didn't grow up on a farm. As a kid, you know, I grew up riding BMX bikes and playing in the streets and living in a neighborhood, and you know, we didn't have chickens, we didn't have anything except dogs. And so the culling process is not something I'm looking forward to, but it is necessary because we're going to use this as a sustainable source of food. So anyway, when that happens, we'll see what happens, but for today I get to put off the process. The injured bird, I put some triple antibiotic ointment on his head, and he just sat there and let me take care of the wound. And so now he's got ointment on his wound. He is eating and drinking, so he appears to be fine. So I guess once I got him out of the environment where he was being stressed, then he's fine. But he's now eating and drinking. He's over there getting drink right now. So I've got him in the new cage where I was going to separate out breeders and egg layers, but at this point we may just make them all one, and we'll get some more, we'll get the egg layers out of our flock as we continue to grow it. So we're going to go ahead and probably let these go. If they start laying eggs, then we'll put, we'll see how regular they get, and then we'll figure out how to put a male in there with them and see if we can start getting some fertilized eggs. And then once we get some fertilized eggs, the recommendation is to go about a month or so, maybe three to 4 weeks, with the rooster in with the hens, and that way the other guy, he said then he could perfect his technique. We'll just, you know, the first 3 or 4 weeks we won't try and incubate those eggs, and then if we're getting a dozen eggs a day, after about a week, that'll give us 84 eggs. And if we incubate 84 eggs, then we should get a pretty good hatch rate out of that as well, hopefully. And then we'll just do it all over again. We'll grow them out in our brooder and put them in the new cages, and then we should have a lot more to be able to see if we're going to have some that are just hens for laying eggs, and then the boys that are just for meat. And then we'll take some more fertilized eggs and we'll grow those out again. And by that time, it'll probably be about a year or two. Well, maybe not. We'll see how long it is, but then we'll get to the point where we're all of a sudden all these boys are freaking out. I don't know why. I guess I was talking about separating out the roosters for meat, and they didn't like that. But that's what they're for. So, except for the ones that we're going to decide to go ahead and use for breeding. So we'll see how this all works out. And yeah, what an exciting day. Crazy day. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, cheers.